Hey everybody, Alex from SCADA here. In this video, we'll go through the drawing tool in Perspective, which is new in 8.3. It allows you to create and manage SVG files directly in Perspective, and it will work with any SVG files if you've created them outside of Perspective. Like if you have a project from 8.1 that you're bringing across to 8.3, or you've created SVG files somewhere else. So I created a new view here, just called SVG example. We'll go to our Perspective Components tab, and we'll select the drawing tool, and we'll drag that over, and that'll add a new drawing here to the project browser. And we can double click on that to open the drawing editor here. This is what we'll use to draw our SVG, and then once we have an SVG in here, we can do different bindings and things on that. So over here on the left, we have a path tool for drawing lines, a rectangle tool for squares and rectangles, circle tool, a polygon tool, and a star tool. And then we can also just draw freeform lines with a pen, or a pencil, or add text, or gradients into this. So to keep things simple, we'll just do a polygon. So we'll click the polygon tool. We'll just come draw a polygon here, and let's give it, say, 6 sides. And if we click our selection tool and select that, we'll get our rotation handles. So we can rotate that however we want. So we'll just make it vertical here. And if we select our polygon now, you'll see that we have, X and Y positions, width and height, the number of corners. If we wanted to put, say, our radius on there, or if we were doing the star tool, we would have how many points and things that has. We can also look at settings, which will give us our view box settings and how that's set up. We'll go through all that in a minute. Then down here, we'll see our fill color, our stroke color, stroke size, and then any elements that we have in this SVG file. So if we were to add more elements to this to make it more complicated, those would show up down here, and we can create as complex of an SVG as we need to in this system. So for a basic example, if we want to take our fill color and let's say bind that to an expression binding, so we can have a tag that controls the value of that, we can do that. So let's create a tag here. We'll just go to default, new memory tag. And we'll just call this SVG color. And that could be a memory value is fine. We'll just give it a value of 0 to start. And let's go back into the drawing editor. Yes. And you may find this is a little bit buggy at times. That kind of is what it is, I guess. So let's align this to be roughly vertical. That looks good. Go. We'll grab our selection tool, and we can resize, and you can use the arrow keys to move this around however you need to. And let's maybe put that at 0, 0. scroll over to that, and let's scoot that so it's aligned there. And we'll just map that out to the top. So let's go to our fill color, expression binding, and we'll say if tags SVG color, let's say if it's less than 100, we'll do green. If it's less than 200, I think that's yellow. Otherwise, we'll do red. It's giving us an error. If function got a null first argument. Okay. So let's put in a value of 0. Go back to our drawing editor. And this is where it gets buggy. If you see this pop up as blank when you go to re-edit your binding, you have to do a designer restart. So let's hit apply. That looks good. We'll just address the size of that. So to make changes to that, we'll have to do a designer restart, but we can leave that for now. And if we were to make our value 101, I guess we get a fuchsia color, and 201 will be red. That works for the time being, to at least show how properties work. So let's go back to our drawing editor. We'll select our polygon here, and we can go to settings. Let's say we want our view box. I think this was 300 by 300 pixels roughly. Let's see if we adjust our width and height and make that a little bit smaller. Yes, we want our x and y to be 0 and 0 because that's where it's oriented. And let's make this a little bit smaller. Let's just do 250 by 250. And we can set up our aspect ratio preservation here. If the drop down worked, but that will work for now. Let's hit apply. And let me do a designer restart just to be able to edit things. It's a little bit frustrating, but is what it is. Okay, so did a designer restart. We'll come back in here. Go to settings. Now we can adjust our aspect ratio if we want. And if we want to put padding around our content, we can use that button. let's say resize view box 2 content. That will preserve things there for us, and we can hit apply. And now if we resize our drawing with that set, it will resize the SVG within there, and you'll notice that if we clear these out and hit apply, then that will resize the drawing itself, but it won't resize the SVG within there. So let's go settings, put 10 in there. And then also if you want to see like a grid to better align things, maybe we want to make that a smaller spacing. And if we want to do snap to grid and things, we can do that. And if we want to show guides, you can come click on the ruler over here and put guidelines in. So if you want to align things specifically pixel-wise, those can be a helpful way to do that. And if you want to hide them, just unclick show, and then you can hover over those to where you get the little move icon and click to hide them manually, and change the color. And then if you want to do like edit your stroke and things, and commonly, let's say we have a graphic of a pump, maybe we're gonna show part of the pump in a certain color if it's running and leave all of the rest of it a standard color. So like if we wanted to say put a circle in the middle of this, and you can hit Control to force that to be round. And then let's say we want to, let's do our selector tool, select the hexagon and the polygon there. Can we align those? I don't see a way to align those easily. So we can just click and move that over. So you may be a little bit limited in the capabilities compared to something like Inkscape for editing SVGs, but this will give you some capabilities here, and presumably they're updating this over time to fix the bugs and things, but that works. So in this case, now we have an arc here, and we can also, if we want to rename that, let's call this hexagon and circle. And then we have, we do have layer capabilities. So if we want to send backwards or forwards or send it to the back, you can adjust what's in front of each other. Oh, I guess the alignment tools are up here. I was looking in the wrong spot. So if we want to align those horizontally and vertically so that they're centered together, we can use those over here. Or if you want to space things out or whatnot, you can do that. So let's hit apply. Now we'll see that we have the circle there and things resize automatically. And you can hold shift here as well to scale with the same aspect ratio. And if we wanted to, say, make things dynamic there, we could go to add a custom property and bind that to our tag. And we can do indirection and all of that here. So let's just bind this one to SVG color. And let's create SVG color 1. And if we come to our drawing, and open the drawing editor, select our hexagon, adjust our fill, which we'll need to restart the designer. So we'll do that here. Just open a different project. And we'll reopen 401. And let's click our hexagon. Open up our binding, which is still not working. Let's see if we can bind our circle maybe. That works for some reason. So let's do an indirect, or actually we can do a property binding to custom properties, color, and actually we want an expression. Let's do if drawing custom color is less than 100. Maybe we'll just do red to show something different. Otherwise, let's do green. And we'll hit apply. And then we can duplicate this. And let's bind this to SVG color 1. And this is, oops, this one's bound to our SVG color, so that's fine. So if we change this to 101, we should get green and fuchsia, and our background on both will be the same since we couldn't easily get in and manage our binding on the hexagon. We'll change that to 101, and that will become green. And change that back to 0. So you can, bind different components within that and use custom properties to build some dynamic SVGs. Again, it's still a little bit buggy, so you may find it's still a little easier to build SVGs outside of Ignition and bring those in and do bindings accordingly. Because you can still come under your SVG. Let's see if we did like an image. I don't have any SVGs loaded on here at the moment, but you can go in and bind to your specific properties like your stroke and fill of an existing SVG if you pull it across as an image, or use the drawing editor. Just be aware it's a little bit buggy at the moment. And this is 8.3.3, I believe. Let's see. Go to home. Diagnostics. Yeah, we're on 8.3.3. These are the same bugs I've seen since 8.3.0. But that is what it is. So sorry, it's a little buggy to show at the moment. Hopefully that improves with time and I can update the video from there. One thing we recommend, we have a post on the Corso system site about the perspective drawing tool, is if you're getting into the to the bindings like that, you may want to work those out before you go into the binding editor, just to make sure that you're good to go, since you effectively only get to do it one time, especially if you're building complex SVGs with lots of elements in them. But let me know if you run into any questions on the perspective drawing tool. Otherwise, thanks for watching and have a great day.